do some tackling. Anyway, you know who it is. Good job.
I forgot to thank some very special people. This event wouldn't take place without them. It's the St Andrews Committee. Please, a round of applause for them. They work hard. We work hard all year. I've lost my glasses again. I'd also like to thank my brother for donating this haggis, the ceremonial haggis, for 2 years in a row. He's not here, he's in Scotland, but thank you, Seamus. And could I please call committee member Rhonda, who will deliver the immortal memory to Robert Burns.
When deciding how to approach this toast, it reminded me of my first pilgrimage to Burns Cottage while on a school trip to Scotland. As you know, the highlight of any visit to an historic site for a 10-year-old or maybe a girl of any age is the gift shop. We were under strict instructions to buy a sensible gift, like the very practical Burns Cottage pencil and pen set. Having abandoned teachers' orders, I was the envy of every other female classmate as I boarded the school bus with my newly acquired Scotty dog, complete with tartan collar. So, with Scotty here tonight, this is my immortal memory of Burns. Burns is to Scotland what Shakespeare is to England, and both have statues honouring them in Westminster Abbey. But it is Burns who is honoured by more statues in the world than any other figure in literature. Burns, like other great figures in history, had a colourful and eventful life. Robert Burns is widely considered to be the greatest and most famous Scot. He came to fame at the age of 27, admired not only for his verse, great love songs, but also for his character, his high spirits, hard drinking, and womanizing. I do wonder how many of you here share some of the same qualities. In spite of being born the son of a poor farmer, Burns was extremely well read. At 15, Robert was the principal worker on his father's farm, and at his tender age, he penned his first verse, "My Handsome Nell," to a farm servant, Nellie Kilpatrick. Burns emphasizes that female grace and virtue are more desirable than beauty alone. Or maybe Burns understood, a man falls in love through his eyes, a woman through her ears. This is not the normal behavior of a 15-year-old boy. At 15, a boy usually expresses his desire to a girl with the help of a friend, with the phrase, "My friend over there likes you." When his father died in 1784, Robert and his brother became partners in the farm. However, Robert was more interested in romantic poetry and misadventures than ploughing. At 17, Burns had really raised his game. After falling in love for the second time with Alison Begbie, he wrote 14 verses extolling her virtue. But it's not her air, her form, her face, though matching beauty's fabled queen. 'Tis her mind that shines in every grace. Her mind. At the age of 17, Burns extolled a woman for her intelligence. Now, I'd like to know how many of the men here at 17 are standing at the bar, surveying the talent, pondering a girl's intellect. By 26, Playboy Burns had become well-versed in his romantic pursuits. But when he met Jean Armour, he proclaimed, "This is it, this is it," as he had said so many times before. But he knew he and Jean would spend the rest of their lives together when Jean looked longingly into his eyes and whispered those 3 magical words, "I am pregnant." Burns was a lover who could match fellow Scot James Bond, kiss for kiss, conquest for conquest. He has even been referred to as Sean Connery on speed. Rabbie required a devoted wife in Jean, a passionate liaison in his Highland Mary, and a long-term correspondent in Mrs. Agnes McElhose, and many other encounters, which resulted in 12 children, not all of them Jean's. Burns as a poet may have been immortal. As a man, he was very human. Recognizing the lack of talent in his own sex, he had merely turned to a number of women to support his success. Jean, his organizer, Mary, to inspire his creativity, and intellectual tutor, Mrs. McElhose. Yes, indeed, behind every great woman, there is a fine man. There are 3 things men can do for women: love them, suffer for them, or turn them into literature. It is undeniable that Burns liked the company of women, but he also was a strong advocate of women's rights. He wrote, "Why quacks of state must each produce his plan, and even children lisp the rights of man. Amid this mighty fuss, just let me mention, the rights of women merit some attention." What Burns may have failed to realize is women who seek to be equal to men merely lack ambition. How times have changed. Brazil has a female president. A movie about the first female Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is destined for Oscar glory, and we have a woman president of the St. Andrews Society. In fact, when Burns Suppers first started, women weren't even invited, let alone speak. Although after this speech, some may feel not all progress is necessarily good. By 31, Burns had started a job in finance as a tax collector to give him a steady income. Ironically, if Burns was alive today, the royalties from Old Lang Syne alone would have made him a billionaire. Yeah. In this time of economic crisis, perhaps those with a finance career here tonight may consider a career in poetry or songwriting to make their fortune. Burns died at 37, his early death in part due to the doctors who believed that standing in the freezing waters of the Solway Firth would benefit his failing health. I guess they cured the disease and killed the patient. On the 25th of July, 1796, the day of Burns' funeral, Jean Armour gave birth to his son. Shakespeare could not have made it up. Apparently 6,000 people attended his funeral, many of them married men, just to make sure Burns was really dead. Burns loved a good party, a good story, a good song, and a good drink with friends. He loved life, he loved the lassies, and he loved being one of the boys. And that's why we love celebrating his spirit over 200 years after his death. It is to Robert Burns, a man of passion, a man of freedom and independence, a man of verse and song, the people's poet. I ask you to stand and charge your glasses to the immortal memory of the famous Robert Burns.
All right.